Hi, I'm Dick. In this video, I'm going to deep dive to the usage of VAR, which is the stellar of DAX in Power BI. This is also the episode 1 of stream 1 of this video series. Why VAR? Actually, there are two levels of usage, standard and advanced. Firstly, VAR is the intermediate storage of calculation result. It allows you to store the result of a calculation in a variable, which can then be reused multiple times within the same measure or calculated columns. This avoids the need to repeat lengthy formulas as well as repeat calculation. It also improves readability. By using VAR, you can break down complex calculations into simpler, more readable parts. This makes your DAX code easier to understand and maintain. Finally, it enables judgment on intermediate calculation result. You can use VAR to store intermediate results and then apply conditional logic based on this result. This can help in debugging and refining your calculations. Well, for the advanced usage, it is mainly the parameterization. You can use VAR to turn parameters of any function into variables. This allows for more dynamic and flexible calculations, as you can change the value of the variable without altering the main formula. I understand that this presentation may be too abstract, so I'm going to use a number of examples to guide you through the real usage of VAR. The first example we are going to use is the MPS Simplified version. Remember, in the data table MLP, I create a few DAX columns. The critical columns is production requirement. Now, when you look at the DAX formula, it starts with the if logical operation, which we only do the calculation for weeks less than or equal to 8, which is the MLP weeks measure. And then the first VAR is the accumulated production requirement. On the right-hand side, you see that it starts with max. It is to replace the negative resultant figure with 0. And inside the max, it is the real calculation. First, it is the accumulated demand. And you can see that this part, the MLP week number, should be less than or equal to the parent row week number. In order to identify the actual number of week number, Power BI needs a function of earlier to assist for that. Okay, this is a constant when we are using the earlier. What does it mean? Now, for example, if we are in the week 3, we are going to calculate the accumulated production requirement. Then, since we are using the earlier for the MLP week number, it is a constant, that means 3. Then, Power BI will look through the table, row by row. The first row, it is week number, which is less than 3, so we count the demand. Row 2, the week number is 2, which is less than 3, counted. Row 3, counted. Row 4, no. Until row 8, not counted. Okay? This is the usage of earlier function. Now, this week number earlier function has the same logic of earlier function of MLP product. All right? And then the second part is the accumulated production requirement of last week. Almost the same logic. Afterwards, we do the subtraction, and we assign the result of the subtraction to TMP. At the end of the variable calculation, we need a return to tell Power BI this is the end of this variable calculation. You see that on the right-hand side of return, we can further do some calculation. For example, we need to check TMP whether it is 0. If it is not 0, then we return TMP value. As I mentioned in the PPT slide, the advanced usage of VAR is the parameterization. Here, you can see that for the then part of the if operation, the VAR can be multi-line. See? And ultimately, we just return the ultimate calculated value. Think about that if there is no VAR. The formula of the second part of the if operation will be lengthy. You can see that we need to use this part to minus this part. And then at the same time, we also need to do the checking of the result if it is 0. So you can imagine how lengthy the formula will be. I believe that if you are using Excel, you may come across with a situation of a very long formula, which may involve more than hundreds of characters. In this situation, nobody can read and understand the formula, only the alpha. So in Power BI, with VAR, we can well define our calculation and make it more systematic and readable. Okay, the next example is about a bar chart. Here is the data set. We have 3 columns, year, month, and sales. Then we go to Power BI to import this data set. In this data set, actually, we have 2 years. One is 2022, the other is 2023. Then we add the bar chart. Okay, we put the month as the x-axis, and then the sales as the y-axis. Without the specification of years, the sales amount of each month is the summation of 2 years, 2022 and 2023. Then I need to add a slicer. We add the year here, and then change it to vertical list. If we don't choose any year, the data here assume all are selected. If we are choosing 2022, then the sales amount is only about 2022. Okay? Alright, we further enhance our requirement on the bar chart. I would like to highlight the month with maximum sales. The color of the bar should be orange. And then for the month with minimum sales amount of the year, I should put pink in color. And all other months, I should put gray in color. Okay, to do this, we need to create a new measure which can assign the color code to the columns of the bar chart. Before that, we need to create a measure table. I name it all measures. Then I create a measure. I call it X color. The first VAR I'm going to create is max sales. Max X is similar to the Excel function max if S. Then I need to add a filter. After that, the all function. Inside the all function, I put the data table sheet 1. What does the all function means? It removes all the filter related to the data table sheet 1. You may ask how many filter exist in this report. I can tell you that 2. One is the year slicer. The other is the month slicer. Yes, bar chart could be a slicer or a filter. Let me complete the formula, and then I can explain to you more. Selected value means what we have clicked on the year slicer. And then the third variable is per month sales. I use the selected value again. Okay, it will be a little bit tricky. Why we have the month slicer? Let me tell you something. The color code is going to be placed in the column of the bar chart. And then when Power BI loop through every single column, for example, it loop through to month 1, okay? When it loop to the month 1, it assumes that month 1 is selected. Once it is selected, the whole data set of sheet 1 is filtered to month 1. Okay, if I do not add the all function here, then there is only month 1 in the data table, sheet 1. So it will ignore all the other months when it is doing the comparison of 12-month sales and sort out the maximum sales amount. So that's why we need to add the all function so that it will not accept the filter of month. Okay, so Power BI will look at 12 months of 2022. Now, because here we filter the year of sheet 1 with year 2022 as selected. Okay, and then the month is not filtered. So we have 12 months. Power BI will do the comparison among 12 months and sort out the maximum sales figure. Here, obviously, is month 6. Okay, and then for minimum sales, obviously, it is month 11 of year 2022. Okay, here, I did not add the all function. So when the Power BI pointer loop row by row, for example, the loop, the row 1, the month 1, all right, this amount 250 will be returned to current month sales, and then it will compare to max sales whether they are equal. If not, that means this is not the maximum sales, and also compare to minimum sales if they are equal. If not, so I will assign the color of gray to this column. All right, let me complete the final part of the measure. I use switch. Then I compare the current month sales. If it is equal to max sales, if yes, I assign the color of orange to it. If not, then I put the second condition. If it is equal to minimum sales, if yes, pink color, else gray. Okay, this is the formula of X color. Now I'm going to place the X color measure to the FX of the column. Before that, I need to do some housekeeping. The column 1. All right, the columns is here. And all, because every single column will do the test of the measure. Here it is the FX. I need to place the X color here. All right, we choose the field value and then final X color. All right, okay. You see, bingo. We should add the data label on each column. So here, data label. All right. The maximum sales of 2022 is 800, and it is month 6. And then the minimum sales is 190, which is month 11. Okay, and then for year 2023, the maximum sales month is month 5, and then the minimum sales is month 10. Okay, we are almost done. We are almost done. Now, if we don't have VAR, I can tell you that it is almost impossible to achieve this kind of requirement. Do you agree? Now, that's why I say VAR is the stellar of Power BI DAX. Okay? One more thing I would like to draw your attention. You see that I am going to choose any one of the year. If I did not select anything, you see, every single column are in orange, which is totally incorrect. As I mentioned earlier, if we did not select any year, all the columns is the summation of the month across year. So in principle, it is still possible to sort out the maximum sales month. In this case, it should be month 6. And then the minimum should be the month 1. But what's wrong? I can tell you that it is complicated, really complicated. I'm not going to solve it because it involves the function of SumX and also a new concept, virtual table, which I will explain when I am talking about the SumX. So now, in order to avoid this kind of exception, I will change the slicer to single select only, so that it's not possible for the user to select nothing or select all the options. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Remember, when I talk about the advanced usage, the major advantage is parameterization. That means VAR can turn parameters of any function into variables. Now remember, when we are doing the if, you already see that we can do that with VAR. And how about in switch? Yes, we can do it. All right, then we go back to the DAX. In here, now return switch bracket true, and then the condition. Can we apply the VAR in here? Definitely. All right, this is just for illustration, okay? We have the same effect. Of course, you may wonder, why do we need to put the VAR in this place? As I say, it is just for illustration. So, I hope you can fully appreciate the function, the value of VAR, which can make Power BI easier to present the data. If you find this video helpful, please click subscribe and click on the thumb. Thank you. Happy PBI journey.